This session is going to be recorded mainly for the reporting purposes, as this is one of the European projects under the Forward-Looking Erasmus scheme. I'm just going to wait for a few more seconds to see if somebody else is joining us today. We have received around 50 registrations, so I hope that we are really able to share these last steps and last results with a lot of you, and hopefully we can then co-create networks forward as well. Okay, we will just wait for a few more seconds. Okay. So again, thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Tina Mavric. I am the head of capacity building and events at the European Association for Education of Adults. And we have been the coordinator of the PartnerUP project now for the last 2 years. Today, this session is meant for us to really present the final results of the project and to also see how we can go ahead. Here, seeing exactly what has been done in the 2 years and making sure that we are really able to have a clear path going forward is important to us, because we don't want to just stay stagnant in the results that we have achieved. So I hope that after today's session, you will be able to also see exactly what was achieved in the 2 years, what has been done before, and what is also planned to be done later after the project ends. We are not finishing with the initiative and not finishing with the work on upskilling pathways, on the outreach, or on the basic skills. This, I hope, is just the beginning for us. In today's session, you are going to be joining us for about 2 hours, and we will have a couple of presentations. First of all, we are going to be joined by Clara Engels-Perani. She works at the DG Employment. She's going to tell us more about what they are working on in adult education, about the initiatives that they have ahead, and also about some examples that she can share with us. In a way, combining what we have done throughout the process of study visits and in a way from a kind of a top-tier situation, explaining to us what can happen in the next years and hopefully also building on the great initiatives that have already been done. Later on, I'm going to be presenting the main results and exactly why this project was so important and how we are then looking forward with it and with the results that we have achieved. And then the main part of today's session is going to be a panel discussion. I'm going to be joined by our colleagues from the project, and our colleague from Cardet is actually going to be the one presiding over it. We're going to learn a bit more about the concrete results that have been achieved, and also about the great initiatives and great strategies that were behind gathering so many people in this past time, and how people here, the project partners, are going to go forward with the initiatives, perhaps with the networks, or maybe also thinking about what didn't work. I do think that we can sometimes learn from our mistakes and then have an even greater future in adult education, especially focusing on such an important topic that is the upskilling and reskilling. So without further ado, I would like to invite our dear colleague Clara from the DG Employment to share her presentation with you. In the meantime, if you have some questions for Clara, please put them in the chat and we are going to read them out at the end of her presentation. Thank you so much, Clara, for joining us.
Thank you very much for the invitation. And while I'm sharing my presentation, it will take just a second to give the right. You have now. Do you see the correct the big?
We see it.
View?
Thank you so much.
Yes, perfect. Then So as Tina mentioned, I'm working in in DG Employment at the European Commission in the unit dealing with skills policies. One of the units dealing with skills policies, but we are in a way coordinating we are trying to coordinate skills issues for the entire Commission, and I would say that is going better and better. It takes some time also within organizations to establish this collaboration. And as it happens also in member states, that skills are rather fragmented across different policy sectors, mainly education and training, also employment, social affairs, and many others. But what we see is very important to have one umbrella somehow keeping together all the people working on skills to have a common direction and a successful and efficient information sharing for better policies at European and national level. And in my presentation today, I would like to give you a little bit of an overview of what happened in the last period on policy developments. You might be aware of many of these, but we agreed with Tina that it is nevertheless useful to have a summary for it. So you really see the full slide. You don't see the presentation version, right?
No, no, we see the full slide.
Okay, thank you. Then just trying to switch to the next one. Yes, I would like to recall that we had from May 2023 to May 2024 the European Year of Skills, which was only 1 year officially, but it had more than a half year of preparatory time, and it was a very successful um, period where a lot of dialogue happened between very, very many different players. And our stakeholders even called for a decade of skills, what we need. So we actually think that this strong focus on skills has not really stopped last May, but we feel that it's continuing, and I hope you will also feel it in a positive way. Altogether, there were more than 2,000 events across Europe. There were quite some initiatives that were launched. Um, there was a website which is still available and which includes a lot of background information which can be useful. So if you wish, you can still visit the website of the European Year of Skills, and that can be um, a good resource page also for you. There was also a bigger media campaign with focus on certain countries more than some others, but in all countries there were altogether counted more than 1.3 million visitors to the events, and these numbers are very impressive, but the most important part was the richness of conversations which were which were enabled by the European Year of Skills. The year brought together stakeholders from all sectors and all um, different areas, from academia, government, education and training providers, businesses, employers, social partners, and very, very importantly, NGOs and other organizations in contact with citizens. And here, as we saw it, was a hub for discussion and exchange of ideas, and also mutual learning. Just a second, it went too far. Yes, and now the year is over, but we see that the legacy is certainly that skills are still very high on the European political agenda, and we hope also at the national political agendas. This is important in moments like now when new initiatives are coming at European level, when the new programming period, or where the current ESF and the European funds programming period is under review. There is a possibility for countries to reprogram their financing, and also we are already starting for the planning with the planning of the next financing period. And in these moments, it's very important to keep emphasizing the crucial role of skills. And yes, here is just another slide that our stakeholders who participated and contributed to the European Year of Skills felt that these were activities that actually mattered and that actually made a difference. And there is still a lot to do, and a lot of action is needed to improve cooperation, mainly of different stakeholders, to progress with up and reskilling of adults, with reaching out to those who have skills that need to be improved, whether these are more basic skills or these are higher skills, but still in need of refreshing and keeping them up to date. And this cooperation is probably something what I would like to stress the most. And I understand also from your project that this is what you were working on in the last few years during your project period. There will be soon a report on the European Year of Skills, which will be published. It will be in the next couple of weeks during the spring, hopefully in March, but I cannot confirm the date yet. And I would like to invite you to read this report, also for further cooperation ideas you might have, and also for your national policy measures planning. Currently, we are still working on the European Skills Agenda, which was adopted almost 5 years ago, in 2020. And the Skills Agenda even goes back to 2017, when the European Pillar of Social Rights was proclaimed in Gothenburg, which set a clear direction. Europe must take a human-centered approach to the future of jobs and skills. The European Skills Agenda has 12 concrete actions which try to tackle the challenges on skills, and most on all of these there have been quite some progress in the last few years. And I would like to highlight just two initiatives from this, which I think can have relevance to your work. One of them is the Pact for Skills. This is one of the flagship initiatives under the Skills Agenda, and it promotes cooperation among diverse stakeholders, businesses, public authorities, training providers, focusing on upskilling and reskilling of workers. And it is based on around the EU industrial ecosystems. Uh, 20 large-scale partnerships across the 14 industrial ecosystems like automotive, healthcare, digital, agriculture, etc., have been created, and many organizations are already members of the pact. And uh, next to this focus on the different industrial ecosystems, this, the pact is working more and more also regionally, and this is a newer direction to allow um, um, actors in certain region to work together more closely to offer up and reskilling opportunities uh, to people uh, in certain value chains, but also in certain regions. So this promotes very strongly the cooperation of stakeholders, as your project also does. Um, Here, the focus is not only on the provision of training, but also on understanding what are the needs of training, but and how can workers working in the different smaller enterprises, even micro enterprises, benefit from training which is available in a given uh, industrial ecosystem, in a given value chain, to make sure that everybody who plays a role in production, um, um, has a role in certain industry, can access skills up and reskilling possibilities. Uh, this is a big work which needs to be done, and the what we see is that the Pact for Skills is gaining more and more um, um, uh, momentum, and there are more and more um, actors joining the pact. And under the current commission, we were asked by the political guidelines of the new commission to work on the further improvement of the pact for skills, to reach out to even um, more actors and support their cooperation. So I wanted to highlight this because this is an area where we expect further attention and even more stronger attention from our policies. The other flagship action which our services are implementing is on individual learning accounts. And in some of your countries, there have been already pilot projects either launched or they are in preparation. The idea of individual learning accounts is to support all working age adults to access training, and not only those who are either in a fixed job or, on the other hand, are unemployed, but also people who usually fall in between the usual provision of training, which is very often through employers or public employment services. So the individual learning accounts would allow people to receive a regular entitlement which they can use for training purposes, selecting from a registry of available training offers, and using it for the training they need. Uh, and the training should be relevant for their situation, and at the same time also quality assured. And EAEA is also working with a big project on the implementation of such registries which would gather the training offer. And You can see on the slide that in the last 2 years and this year, we are working closely with a number of countries to look at how this action can be implemented in the um, most useful way in the different contexts of countries. And this skills agenda for Europe from 2020 is still in place, but we have a new commission, and we have the European Year of Skills behind us. We have also reports which were important input for the current commission. The report of Mario Draghi on competitiveness, which highlighted the challenges Europe faces, including low participation in adult learning, lagging performance in STEM education compared to leading countries, and um, also other inputs for the Commission by other reports. And this led to the request of the Commission to us to launch a communication on the Union of Skills, which is under preparation now, and hopefully it will be launched on the 5th of March. There will be a conference in Brussels to which some of you might have received an invitation already. There are limited places for in-person participation, but the conference will be also web streamed. Uh, and We hope that the adoption of this Union of Skills communication will be exactly on that day, and it can be revealed there. And if not, if you even if you are not in um, the position to attend the event in person, you can follow the different presentations, discussions remotely. And I also wanted to share a little bit content information about what we are doing concretely with experts from member states. We have a working group on adult learning where ministries are members, and we have also stakeholder organizations that are members of this working group. So EAEA is also a member of the Adult Learning Working Group. And in November, we had a peer learning activity on the topic of motivating adults for learning. And this peer learning activity discussed upskilling and reskilling approaches to empower individuals to improve their motivation to participate in learning, because motivation is probably the most difficult obstacle for policymakers, even if they have funding, even if they can create some time for people to participate, how to convince them that it brings something for them, that is a real challenge. And the PLA looked at different examples from individual learning accounts to micro-credentials, policies to people not in employment or education and training, people with low qualifications, people from disadvantaged backgrounds. And we also looked at career guidance approaches. So this was a PLA which looked at innovative approaches from different countries, among others, Austria, the Walloon Federation of Belgium, Estonia, Spain, Greece, Ireland, Italy, Latvia, the Netherlands, Romania, Sweden, and Slovenia. And the EAEA had also a presentation here. And the key findings were also very relevant for your project, I believe, because it was agreed that in any case, the basis for successful skills policies is the strong political vision, where there is policy steering from the authorities, a holistic one, which is enabling and supporting, and which stresses the importance of skills development. And then also the partnerships and cooperation were highlighted as very important factors, collaboration between different stakeholders, including local authorities, NGOs, social partners. And this is needed to establish a learning culture which helps then implement effective learning, lifelong learning strategies. There was also agreement that SMEs need specific attention. There was an example from the Netherlands where they have a government program to support the lifelong learning culture, especially in small and medium enterprises, with the motto working while learning, learning while working. And they have different other actions within this program, looking at sometimes specific sectors to make sure that SMEs get the support they need to regularly upskill their workforce and reskill them if needed. Then rec the recognition of the learning benefits was also stressed, and that the learning should be low threshold and connected to the learner's everyday activities. Micro-credentials can contribute to this, and there were various examples shared where this development of bite-sized learning opportunities in cooperation with enterprises and other providers led to successful recognition, but work is still needed to make micro-credentials a useful tool, and they will probably be even more challenging for people for basic with basic skills. So there is attention needed for the inclusion aspect. The guidance and counseling topic comes up very, very often. That came up almost in all discussions also during the European Year of Skills. And now the Commission has a similar forward-looking cooperation project as the one under which your project runs. And this call is specifically on guidance and counseling. The application is open until the 27th of May. So there is still time for you probably to consider that as one of the follow-up actions of your project. And finally, this is just a short information about some of the practices we looked at during this peer learning activity. There will be a report published of this, and then that is probably also interesting to look into for you. So that was my short summary. I'm very much looking forward to your experience with your project and your findings. And I really hope that you will be able to connect and profit from the upcoming initiatives from the European Commission side. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Clara, for your presentation. I hope that we were all able to see the successful initiatives that have already taken place, and also looking ahead with the Union of Skills, with the new initiatives coming, with perhaps a Pact for Skills for Education. We have a lot of opportunities for adult education, I feel, now in the next few years. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to have my presentation. And I hope that the mysterious black box might not be there now. But please let me know if you can see it. So I have prepared a very short presentation about why PartnerUP and what we want to do with it and what we want to do with it in the future. And I'm going to try to be as short as possible to give space to the panel and to the results that our colleagues have made in the project. So the PartnerUP for us at EAA was kind of a next step on building the initiatives we already had. When in 2016, the upskilling pathways at the end of the year came out, we prepared an initiative called Upskilling Pathways for Adult Education Professionals. And in 2020, we started with also our project called Regale, Regional Capacity for Adult Learning and Education. Out of those two, we saw a need that there needs to be more outreach. There needs to be more collaboration. There needs to be just more connection with different stakeholders that still didn't know about each other. So in the team, we were really thinking as to how to build on it, how to continue, and how to make it bigger. And that is how the idea of PartnerUp came to be. How can we include great methods from those two projects with what was happening at that time, on the time when we were writing the project, which was in 2021. And yeah, just how to make it better, successful, and also still thinking about the COVID and if maybe something else happens, some sort of pandemic, and seeing how we can really hybridize it together. The process then was that we have connected with various organizations from our network. So together with a network organization as ours, European University Continuing Education Network, USEN, from Belgium, based in Spain, we were able to kind of get a great partnership, geographically diverse, and really being able to then see how we can explore the outreach in upskilling and reskilling further, especially in the countries that we have decided to take a closer look to. So then we have brought together Belgium as our members and our stakeholders, and then we have focused more on Cyprus, Latvia, Croatia, Romania, Greece, Ireland, Italy, and we also tried to really make sure that the government institutions would also be involved. And that was kind of already an initiative we have been testing out before, but now we really wanted to have a proper collaboration with substantial work also from government institutions. The whole scheme was that we would start with a survey. So we research as to what is happening in the outreach, in the collaboration on the national and on the European levels. Then we have developed development groups. It was sort of a chance for all of the partners to network and to bring together all the people that are involved in adult education, be it vocational education and training, non-formal education. In some countries, there is absolutely no distinctions between those two. Between those steps, we also organize study visits. Some of them were done face-to-face during the transnational partner meetings, and some of them were done in a hybrid mode. So that means that throughout this process, we were able to use the method of peer learning to maybe also upgrade our methods, to upgrade our initiatives, and just to really have an opportunity to learn from each other. And there, each of the country had to organize one, which then was helpful to see exactly what is happening on the grounds and how then we can present it further also to our other members or maybe to our colleagues and then beyond. And then the last but not least step was also the implementation groups, where the idea behind it was to get concrete steps out of everything that was done already before, and also to look at the future. What sort of initiatives have we started in this 2-year process, and how we can continue working on them? How we can make the networks that we have established in these steps sustainable, so that it will not just finish after the project finishes. And we all know that this is a big problem. The key findings were then published on our website. If you are able to visit PartnerUP website, you will see a virtual map. And there we have the key findings done by countries. We will, in the next days, still publish the last step, the implementation plans. But for this, we really saw that we were filling a gap. When we were talking with our partners from various countries, we saw that as they had the time, space, and funding to actually go into their community, be it local or regional or national, they were able to bring so many more people together. Out of that, we were then able to create these new networks that we already see the results that they will be sustainable further on. And I hope that I'm not going to go too much in detail here, because later on my colleagues in the panel are going to be able to present a bit more of what they have done. But we see that there definitely was a need. There definitely was a need to have a space where all of these people came together, be it online for countries that were absolutely not possible to have meetings in one place, or then being also face-to-face. And out of this, really making sure that out of these networks, we can then elaborate what we want to do with upskilling and reskilling, and what do we want to achieve and how we want to achieve it. As Clara mentioned before, yes, there is a lot of emphasis on the labor market, on the small, medium enterprises, on the bigger ones as well. But out of our perspective, it was super important that we also do not leave the people that are unemployed behind, or that we don't leave the people that are completely out of the system behind, because this right now we see as a very big challenge. Coming to challenges, so I'm going to present two sides. So one of them was that in the last few years, after the project already started, there came to mind new research. So for example, we got results from the Draghi report, we got the PIAC results very recently, and together with the European Association for Basic Skills, we are organizing a webinar on 20th of February. Join us, and hopefully you will also be able to see a bit more about what is the challenge with those results and how we can go further. It's going to be a very short, like an hour and a half webinar, and you will also be able to pose questions there. Then, of course, the new commission came to be. So the thinking has also shifted in this time. And with the European Year of Skills, we were able to provide so many new events, and we were able to connect with much more people than before, and still it finishes. So what do we do now? We are also looking at this as a challenge, because without a concrete step, it might be a bit difficult to see how we can work further on upskilling and reskilling, on outreach, on collaboration, and so on. So out of this, we definitely see that the opportunity to have this sort of project happen was amazing, but the challenge was that it was a 2-year project. And right now we are looking as to how to continue with all of our partners, how to provide additional funding, how to provide additional resources so that we can work further, that all of these amazing results we have achieved don't go to waste. And hopefully with the new funding available, we are going to be able to do just that. And we are kind of looking at the Union of Skills as a great stepping stone on how to collaborate even further. So we are definitely going to be keeping a close eye on that as well. So the road ahead for us on the European level is going to be to provide even more opportunities for communication, be it with everybody in Europe that works on adult education, focusing also on European countries that are outside of EU, then also looking at the main things on accessibility and inclusion to really not get the people that might have lower qualifications, that they are not left behind. We have to look at everybody. We will also try to foster lifelong learning and trust. And through that, we are organizing new capacity building opportunities, organizing new partnerships. And I really hope that we can organize also something with this amazing partnership we had in this project. We want to try to also build sustainability through different financial incentives and partnerships. We, of course, and this is our main goal of our organization, to coordinate the policy, to advocate for everybody, and to distribute responsibilities and to provide additional plans on how we can go further, not just as an organization, but really as Europe, as non-formal education is there to provide support for the most vulnerable groups most of the time. So that's going to be shortly from my side, because it's quite important that we hear from the panelists as well. We are going to share both of the presentation after the event today. And now I'm going to give word to my colleague, Xantia Aristidou from Cardet, and she's going to host our amazing panelists. And I hope that you will be able to learn more from their results. Thank you so much, Xantia.
Thank you, Tina. Thank you. So good morning, everyone. I would like to welcome you to our panel discussion on upskilling and reskilling in Europe, the role of the PartnerUP project and other initiatives in shaping future workforce skills. I am Xantia Aristidou. I am Senior Researcher and Project Manager at Cardet, and I will have the pleasure of both moderating and this session and also contributing as a panelist. So in this discussion, we will explore key drivers behind the increasing need for upskilling and reskilling in Europe, the contribution of the PartnerUP project in addressing these needs, the challenges in implementing these programs, and also discuss the cross-country collaborations and how we can ensure long-term sustainability. So I am very happy to be joined by a panel of experts from different countries, who each of them bring valuable insights from different sectors and regions. So just allow me to introduce them. We have Mrs. Antonella Marjanusic, Project Manager for EU projects at the Adult Education Institute Dande. We also have Mrs. Ruby Cooney, Education Projects Officer at AUNDAS. You can just wave. Professor Alexis Gokos, President of the Hellenic Adult Education Association. Hi, Mr. Alexis. And we also have Mr. Didzis Toreters, Department Director at the State Education Development Agency in Latvia. Okay, so at this point, I would like to invite you to provide the perspectives on the importance of the PartnerUP project and perhaps the challenges you have faced in your countries in implementing upskilling and reskilling programs. So who would like to take the floor on this one? Maybe I could start with Antonella.
Yeah, sure. Great. Hi. So when it comes to the importance of this project, I think it was really great to see different types of organizations come together during different meetings and conferences and events. It was great to see the variety of stakeholders. So we had both public institutions, different associations, NGOs, representatives of adult education institutions. So for us, this was kind of the primary importance. And we also had our National Agency for Vocational Education and Adult Education as a full partner in this project. So this was quite of significance for us. And when it comes to maybe some challenges, in Croatia, specifically, it would be primarily there's the motivation, there's the issue of reaching out to what we would call non-traditional learners or people who have maybe lower attainment of skills according to a qualification framework, any that you use, and issues with actually providing more programs for them. So this would be kind of some key points for us in Croatia.
Yes, I could say that this is also the case for Cyprus as well. I saw Mr. Alexis Kokos nodding. Perhaps you can add a comment on that, Mr. Alexis.
Yes, thank you. I could say that we identified 5 challenges. The first one is that the design of programs is carried out almost exclusively by the central administration, without the involvement of partners, employers, and providers. For example, the providers do not participate in any planning and decision-making bodies. The second challenge is that the municipalities and regions do not have the expected financial and technical support from the central government to develop upskilling programs at local level. Third challenge, the development of partnerships between stakeholders is not, unfortunately, a structural characteristic of Greek society for reasons that are due to the historical formation of the social culture in our country, which is competitive rather than cooperative. The fourth is that the pedagogy of the programs does not often respond to the particular training needs and aspirations of the participants. So we have to reconsider and reformulate the pedagogical dimension. And finally, the centers of adult education that functioned within the municipalities have been recently abolished. However, we identified some positive examples of synergies between stakeholders, but these examples are quite rare. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Alexis. Perhaps Mrs. Ruby can comment where the community education is quite strong in Ireland, and maybe we can see some differences across these countries.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you, Xanthia. And it's a pleasure to be here today, and I'm delighted to be talking about the Partner Project. And again, about the importance of projects such as this one. I think it's nice to share the recent PIAC results and to really show what is happening in Ireland. So just at the moment, 1 in 5 adults in Ireland are struggling with reading and understanding information, and even more are struggling with basic maths. And as we know, people with unmet literacy needs, they're more likely to be unemployed, to report poor health, and they believe that they have little impact on political processes. And we know the impact and the consequences this has on families, people, and communities, and of course the economy. So with projects like this, we were able to, even though we have a great network and we're able to communicate with our members quite regularly, being involved in a project like PartnerUP, we were allowed to start even more in-depth conversations with learners, with adult educators and organisations about what is happening in their centres, and identifying the challenges, but identifying the positive areas as well with implementing upskilling pathways. And what we found was that there's loads of amazing work being done. Some people were disappointed with the PIAC results, but they were understanding and they were very open to really take the next steps. And this project really, for us, was a great conversation starter where we could connect again with what's already been happening and really take the next steps with the implementation plans.
Okay, great. So that means, in a sense, that bureaucracies across the different states seem to be an important factor for inhibiting these efforts. Perhaps Mr. Ditsis, operators can add his contribution.
Okay, thank you very much. I would say generally this the project for Latvia for us has been very timely. I mean, it's maybe a coincidence, but this it could have happened at a better time, because we have a number of national initiatives that are supported from European Social Fund that are related to setting up and developing, I would say, quite huge projects in adult education in Latvia, and those include setting up of individual learning accounts. So that's on the national level. But this project, if we look at on the national level, it allowed us to tap into the network of local adult education players, also through our partner in the project, Latvian Adult Education Association, and in a sense prepared the ground for these national initiatives. That's on one side, but at the same time we were able to tap into the international experience through the peer learning events and through access to our project partners and access to information and materials and the resources that were prepared for and are available by as a result of this project. And I'd say the most important, if we talk about issues that we were able to address, it's exactly the network of local adult education coordinators. That's one area. The other area that we were able to address by means of this project are the career guidance aspect in adult education, and also, as I said, laid the groundwork for the individual learning accounts project that is right now going on. Thank you.
Thank you, very interesting. And also, if I can add contribution for Cyprus, I would say that the project has showed some challenges of implementing the upskilling pathways in relation to the fragmentation of the adult education sector, that it's something that it's observed across other European countries as well. And but now a lot of initiatives are in place: the individual learning accounts, the upskilling pathways, and efforts for promoting micro potentials, where we can all discuss them, I guess, towards the end of this discussion. So now we will move into discussing in more depth some key topics with a round of moderated questions. So I will ask each of you specific questions in relation to your context. So for Antonella, in Croatia, your organization worked closely with the State Department. How has this partnership shaped your approach? And what are the plans for sustaining and expanding such cooperation in the future?
Yeah, so it really enabled us to have such an immense reach, really, because it's quite a different position to reach out as a peer, as an adult learning institution, to another, to a government agency, to an association, but to have a partnership with the national agency, it really helped us bring this project truly to a national level. Let's say we really had a greater reach, and especially when it comes to some public organizations, governmental organizations. So we had some representatives of ministries, of different agencies, of some national level associations. So it really kind of helped us really bring a variety of stakeholders there, and especially those who have impact when it comes to policy and to implementation. So this was really kind of key, and I think we are grateful. We really do have a great agency. We in the last 5 years, we've really, at the national level, we've made quite a lot of initiatives and changes with the structuring of qualifications, with implementing the Croatian variation of the individual learning accounts, which is the voucher system, with the implementation of micro-credentialing programs that are really kind of being implemented full swing. So, and I really see this cooperation continuing. It was, I think, good before this project. It was strengthened through this project, and I think it will really continue on.
That's great, and sounds very positive. Okay, so I will ask Mrs. Ruby about the role of AUNDAS in community education, in supporting the upskilling and reskilling efforts, because AUNDAS is a very large organization that specifically focuses on community education, and we would like to share with us perhaps some examples of how this has been implemented successfully in relation to your community education program.
Yes, so we know community education has such a crucial role in really supporting upskilling pathways, and the organisations that we work with deliver courses that are inclusive of adults who do have language literacy or numeracy issues. And an example of this would be an organisation that we work with called NALA, which is the National Adult Literacy Agency in Ireland. And they include a term called integrating literacy, which means designing and delivering courses in ways that remove the unnecessary literacy barriers. And they develop key course-related language, and it really requires education and training providers to take a whole organisation approach to literacy. And this is extremely important as it allows learners to feel comfortable and confident and really enjoy the process of learning. And so NALA, they're an independent charity committed to making sure people with unmet literacy, numeracy and digital needs to make sure that they can fully take part in society and have equal access to learning opportunities. And they have a platform online that allows learners to learn at their own pace and get help from tutors. So this is really aligned with upskilling pathways, and it's a great example of how education and the community education can further upskilling pathways. And they also offer training called work-based basic training. So it really targets individuals who have unmet digital skills and really introduce them back to kind of the processes, the skills they need to participate in the modern work day. So with digital skills like that.
Okay, great. And just to inform our participants that within the aims of the project, we have conducted a study visit at AUNDAS in Ireland, where we had the opportunity to visit the AUNDAS community center. We visited a specific community center, and we had people talking to us about their important role and how they contribute on a daily basis and support adults with low qualifications. So I will now move the floor to Mr. Alexis Kokos and ask Mr. Alexis What are the biggest challenges that organizations face when implementing upskilling and reskilling programs? And what successful partnership strategies have you found most effective in overcoming this barrier?
That's okay. I think I already stated the challenges, so I will
Yes,
speak
yes.
about the initiatives, because there are some good news through the PartnerUP program. So through the practices of our program, the Greek General Secretariat of Vocational Education Training and Lifelong Learning of Greece, I think has become more aware regarding the problems I have stated. So the General Secretariat recognized the lack of synergies and the need to cooperate with other stakeholders, and therefore has opened a dialogue with our organization, AIA, and of course other bodies, to work together in upskilling pathways. A second initiative is that our association, the Hellenic Adult Education Association, is currently involved in the formation of a Pact for Skills, which has been referred by Clara Engels. Pact for Skills is a multi-stakeholder collaboration that will work to create upskilling and reskilling opportunities for people with low qualifications across Greece. So far, besides our organization, members of this partnership are the General Association of Workers, the General Association of Small Enterprises, 4 second chance schools from different regions of Greece, and 2 NGOs specialized in developing learning opportunities for socially vulnerable groups. A third initiative is that our organization has established an open dialogue with the Ministry of Education regarding the application of the AIA Manifesto for Adult Education 2024, specifically in terms of life skills development. Finally, AIA will organize a congress next year on the issue of general adult education, in which the item of upskilling will have, of course, a crucial role. So through this Congress, and mainly perhaps through the committees which will prepare the Congress, we think that the networks and the cooperations between the stakeholders will be considerably reinforced. Thank you.
That's very, very good, very positive news, and hopefully that they will continue to contribute to further and stronger collaborations. And I will give the floor now to Mr. Ditsis Operators and ask him about the collaboration that the PartnerUP project brought between the State Education Development Aid Agency and the LEAA. So in this project, we had 2 Latvian organizations. So you had the opportunity to collaborate. And what opportunities you think that these projects had brought into your collaboration?
Thank you. Yes, just to put it in the context, we, State Education Development Agency, is a governmental agency, and we are tasked with implementing various policy initiatives that the Ministry of Education and Science of the government sets for us. Latvian Adult Education Association is a non-governmental organization. So, and in that sense, I would say this was very beneficial. Of course, even before the project, and we have been in contact, and we work together with this and other NGOs. But the project provided additional kind of impetus or push to look for and to tap into the to vast resources that are available locally, the network of partners that the Latvian Adult Education Association can bring to this. And again, as I said before, we have these national initiatives at the moment going on in terms of adult education projects, and we are as an agency, we are in charge of implementing those. So the collaboration with the Adult Education Association was very good, and it actually highlighted and brought into focus and also provided various good ideas and solutions in terms of local engagement. So the topics, I would say, were threefold. One was local coordination and dissemination of information, involvement of local actors, both in terms of coordinating adult education in regions, but also activating local education suppliers who are players in adult education. So that was one area. The other area is reaching low-skilled adults, adults with low skills, low engagement, and that we have, and I guess it's the same problem in other partner countries. People who are activated, engaged, informed, they are the ones who benefit mostly from the adult education opportunities. But in fact, we need to reach the ones who have low skills, and it's a paradox, but the ones who need it most very often are very difficult to reach and activate. So that was very important topic, and I believe we came up with some very good practical ideas that are implemented right now. And the third area was activating an involvement of local guidance professionals, and also the ones also who are in the local general education in schools. So the idea is to pool resources of the guidance professionals, both from the education sector, general education sector for young people, and also from the adult education sector, so that we have a wider network or wider pool of wider capacity in terms of providing career guidance and advice for these adults. So in that sense, it was very successful, the cooperation, and it will. We are looking at the ways how it can be going on in future with the project support, but also on a regular basis.
Mm-hmm. That's great. And I would also like to add for the Cyprus case that the motivation issue was, again, the greatest issue that stakeholders observed during the development groups. And they have suggested various ways of how we can address it. Some of them were feasible, some of them need structural, important changes to be made in order to be implemented, because people with low qualification have also greater difficulties in accessing the internet. They don't have so much involvement with the wider community, mostly with the local community. So one suggestion was perhaps have people in different regions that they can speak personally with them, and it should use them, because most people would say in or remote areas or that have low qualifications maybe are most suspicious in participating in these programs. So overall, I would like to ask you, and whoever wants to take the floor, on reflect on your contributions on the project, and think about the most significant, let's say, achievement of your organization that has brought to the table, and how this has impacted the overall success of the PartnerUP. One or two things would be enough. Yes, Mr. Alexis.
Yes, I could say that the development group that we have organized worked well. It was, I could say, a kind of assembly, a big gathering of all the stakeholders. It was the first time in Greece that all the stakeholders were together in a hall and discuss. So they heard each other, they reflected on the common problems, and start thinking about cooperation. So I think a road of cooperation was opened. And of course, the second step, which will be very important for the Greek reality, will be the Congress, because as a Congress, it will have a huge impact in the Greek society, I think.
Great, that's great. Yes, I remember that you had a very big event on development groups that seemed to be, and from the pictures, seemed to be very successful. Okay, Mr. Ditsis?
Yeah, okay. I think we were very proud to be able to present our governance structures in adult education. And I believe there is a lot of interest from partners about how the coordination takes place both on national and also on local level. So in that sense, we were both able to develop things locally in Latvia, but also that was one area where we were very happy to share our experiences with the project partners, and we believe there was a lot of interest in that, and we are definitely open to provide more information or share how we are faring with implementing of our development plans, our roadmaps in future as well. Again, also outside the scope of this project as well.
It's important, this aspect, because it sees also how we can take forward the results of this project and produce some actionable steps that can be taken, that can be utilized by the different states, by the different partners or other organizations that aim to promote upskilling and reskilling. Perhaps Ruby can add a comment on that.
Yes, and I think similar to what was happening in Greece with the development groups, that was the most significant achievement, I think, because again, we were able to re-engage with the partners that we have in our organization and get the conversation going and talk to staff and learners who are really committed to enhancing the literacy needs in Ireland. And so as an advocacy group, it was really important to have those conversations and identify the challenges that are being faced there. And just to highlight some of the challenges we saw to learner engagement with upskilling pathways was, say, the lack of confidence among learners, learners having unmet individual needs. Another one was the negative experiences that learners may have had in past education systems, which definitely discourages participation. And then other issues that we noticed were the personal commitment, so work or family responsibilities, not having the confidence to engage with digital online courses. And then practical barriers, such as like lack of transport in rural areas, the childcare needs was definitely a big one that kept coming up, and the financial constraints of adult learners in Ireland. And then again, another achievement was being able to talk to people who are working directly with learners and ask for solutions. And they, again, were asking for wraparound supports, developing micro-credentials that focus on the soft skills to really support learners through the steps of upskilling pathways. And these are recommendations that are very well supported by the research that we do in AIMTIS. And then other ones were talking about outreach work and then involving more adult guidance staff to help identify journeys and help with their educational journey. So these, I think, were really like achievements to us, because it made us kind of recenter as an advocacy group and be like, okay, this is what we're supposed to be targeting on to bring the steps really next.
Great, great. Thank you, Ruby. All these that you mentioned are so important. Working on the ground level with these adult learners. Antonella, would you like to add your input on this discussion?
Yeah, so for us, again, as we mentioned, this ability to bring this variety of stakeholders during all the kind of steps in the project, that was an immense success for us, and to get a variety of perspectives. But I think what we're really proud of are the plans to go forward, because I think they're quite realistic. They're well structured, and as we've already started developing them prior, it's nice to actually see some of the plan steps they're actually being put into action right now. So it's really great to see progress and seeing that, okay, the things that we planned, we really can put it into action. We are putting it into action. We are making progress. So it's great to actually see it become reality.
Wow, that's really good and really positive outcome. And the actual aim of what the project wanted to contribute. So if I just add something from the organization that I'm representing of Cartet, I could say that the greatest perhaps achievement was that this project was part of a series of other adult education initiatives that we are taking, that we've taken in our organization. And we have also contributed significantly in developing the Cyprus lifelong learning strategy, along with the collaboration with EAA. So one of the suggestions that came through the development groups was how that the effort for promoting the policy recommendation of upskilling pathways could be a part of the national strategy, that it's there, it's ready, but the action plan needs to be implemented. So this was one, let's say, highlight. And the second highlight was the study visit. I think you all enjoyed the study visit. You had the chance to visit organizations, important players, stakeholders in this field of Cyprus, like the Human Resource Development Authority and the Cyprus Productivity Center. And you had also the opportunity to observe a real lesson of teaching adults with low qualification on a specific field. So I think this was something very interesting. And moving forward, as an organization, we are interested in further continuing these collaborations and strengthening these connections. And that's all. Okay, so I think maybe we have said quite a lot about the project and about our contribution. I would like to open the floor to the audience. If you wish, you can raise your hand or use the chat function to submit your questions. Didier, you want to add something?
Yes, there is a, I mean, just in case, so that it's, I mean, it doesn't come up with from the questions from the audience. There is one thing I would like to address, and you asked earlier about like the good aspects or maybe not so good aspects of the project, and I mostly would like to concentrate on going forward on sort of future things. So I would say as a national agency, we have not had a lot of experience in participating in projects like this. I mean, you guys may have much vaster experience. So it was, in a sense, first for us, not for our partner, which the the NGO, the Adult Education Association. But for us, it was the first. And we have reflected on the experience of our participation. And I would say that on the one hand, yes, we are definitely committed and we are very interested in furthering this kind of participation in this kind of projects. And this is also part of our strategy as an agency. By the way, we have been reorganized. We are much bigger now, starting from this year, to build our capacity, but through targeted participation in projects where we really can contribute and where we can really learn something from. And going forward, we will be looking at continuing the cooperation, but I would say on more specific issues where we have very specific common ground between potential partners, because there's always a problem with the very vast projects that the partners are on different face slightly different challenges, are on different parts of the road, as so to say, and we need to be looking at more specific topics for that could be further developed, where we can really contribute more in more specific way and learn and gain something from the project in a more specific way. So in conclusion, we have been very impressed and we are very happy with the project, and we are open for further cooperation, but maybe we need a discussion on what it is before we commit to something. Okay, thank you.
Great. Has anyone wants to ask a question?
I think we have a question in the chat.
Okay. I wonder who was the most unexpected partner you were able to reach through the PartnerUP activities? For EAA, it opened up the collaboration with trade unions, for example, and what worked best, meeting in person or online with the stakeholders. Who would like to take the floor on this question?
Yeah, I can start. So for this in person or online, when it was a group, in-person meetings and events really worked best for a larger group, for a variety of stakeholders, for bringing them together. But it was also nice to do a series of online interviews, so one-to-one with different stakeholders, and then to see the repeating stories, to see the kind of key moments pop up again and again from different perspectives. So I think both have kind of benefits to them, but again, maybe one-to-one online. I mean, when you have meetings online, it really enables you to reach different areas, and maybe people who are more, let's say, cannot take part in an event, but meetings in person really work best for collaboration, especially between different types of stakeholders, I think. And for unexpected partners, from my point of view, it's the representatives of governmental agencies. But again, if you have a national agency as a partner, that really opened doors for us. So I would say that.
Yes, I would also add about that, because in the partnership we had state education agencies, that this further enabled us to further promote the project and tell them, yes, it's a very important project. We have national agencies that are part of the consortium, so we could further reach to these stakeholders that maybe are more reluctant or maybe are more observed with the day-to-day activities, are less open participating EU funded projects that are not structural funds, are Erasmus projects. Okay. Mr. Alexis?
Yes, we found out during the project that there are let's say, two groups that are very, very committed to this kind of projects. The one is the second chance schools in Greece, who really work with the authentic, I could say, values and methods of adult education. And the second group is the colleagues who work in prisons for the adult education of prisoners. There are colleagues who are really committed and they do a very, very good work. So I think there are two groups with which we will collaborate closer in the future.
Great. Ruby, do you want to add anything on this discussion?
Yeah, I suppose we didn't have unexpected partners, but we were definitely like happy that say we did with further like our in-person development group activity, we did have representatives there from the Department of Further and Higher Education. So we were definitely delighted to have them. And then also for our online group, we had representatives from QQI, which is Quality and Qualifications Ireland, and they're the state agency that's responsible for the quality and integrity of qualifications in Ireland. So it was, they suppose they were unexpected, but we were delighted to have their engagement because it did really kind of help with the results that we got. So we got a mix between people who are working in standards and policy, but also with people who are working directly with learners. And then we also had learners as well in those groups. So it was a nice collaboration or partnership to have all them together.
Great. So perhaps we can, let's say, think about the key lessons learned about working with different countries and sectors, because this project was a large project. It involved 7 countries. So maybe each of you or people from the audience, maybe they can add anything about what do you think is the most important thing that you have gained through this cross-country collaboration?
Well, I
Yes.
mean, but basically I jumped the gun and and addressed this question before. So yes, I think for us the lesson is that we really need to find partners and concentrate on things where we have quite specific subjects that we can learn from, and that those parts have been the most valuable. And I hope also as the seminar interests that we organized showed that maybe also there are some areas that our partners are interested in. So yes, the lesson for us is that we need to be very selective in terms of looking at projects and working together with partners, so that it really contributes to the challenges that we face, both as an organization, but in our case also as a country.
Great. Mr. Alexis?
First of all, I think that the collaboration in European level, for example, in our concrete project PartnerUP, first of all, reinforces our courage, let's say, because we see that we have the same ideas, the same aspirations, and of course the same problems. But on the other hand, also, I think that through the international collaboration, the European collaboration, we can find out some good ideas, some good initiatives from other countries. I just refer the example of today. For example, what Ruby stated concerning the micro-credentials on soft skills is a very, very good idea, and perhaps we can think on it also in the Greek reality.
Great. So previously, Mrs. Clara presented some recent policy developments about the European Year of Skills, the Pact for Skills, the efforts that are conducted for promoting the individual learning accounts which have been adopted by some countries, as well as the micro-credentials. And based on these initiatives, let's say, how do you see the future of upskilling and reskilling in Europe? And also considering the efforts for the digitalization and the green economy that are part of the scopes of the European Union. So we try to see it a bit more holistically about the efforts, the future of upskilling and reskilling, considering these different actions. What do you think that maybe EU could focus on promoting the upskilling and reskilling, as well as considering this EU policy that focus on specific steps, let's say, on adopting specific steps to its implementation?
I would say that, first of all, I think we still have to work on spreading awareness of upskilling pathways as a concept at maybe national levels, and especially of the 3 steps, as well as what they could look like. In Croatia, we have the micro-credential system. The micro-credentials are oriented mostly on aspects of digital and green skills within professions. What I would like to see personally is maybe greater support, especially for people who are entering into the application process for this, because it is a barrier for people maybe who don't use the online credentialing system to even access the application process, who don't have the digital skills necessary for these steps, and who really do need great support and guidance to even see the application form. So I think we really need to work more on that. And I would like to see, we would like to see a greater offer of programs who have a entry point that's maybe a bit lower on the CroQF, on the qualification scale, maybe programs that require more programs that, I don't know, maybe at level 2 or even level 1. So greater flexibility. So not only having a variety of programs for people who already have a pretty good or intermediate level of skills, but supporting people who really need entry into this process.
Yes, and this is a very big challenge on that. And I would also like to add that as a CASTED, we are also collaborating with the EAA at another project, where the focus of the project is on developing a model for the national registries and connecting them with individual learning accounts. So this will be something like a model, a conceptual framework that different countries can utilize and contextualize it in their context in a way that they can create a platform with all the available training programs, and connecting them with the individual learning account when this will be implemented in different countries. So I would like to ask once more the audience if you have any questions, comments, remarks. Mr. Digis, you want to add something?
Yeah, I may be adding from a bit to Antonella on your question. First of all, again, I have to be very careful here. We are not policy development, organization here. We are taking the lead from Ministry of Education and Science. But again, we are piloting the individual learning accounts and the micro-credentials in Latvia. And I would say, looking from where I am, the challenge is, okay, we will set up this system, but the challenge maybe is on then how do you make it work in the labor market? How do you make it work with the employers? They have to learn how to recognize, use these new educational attainments that are in these individual learning accounts. What do you do with the person who has attained the micro credential? How they are used to maybe old way of recognizing the individual's achievements through like formal education documents, but this now there is a new way. But so we not only have to learn how to provide this kind of new way of education, but also it needs to be recognized by the employers, so they know how to play the game, recognize what is it that is coming in. So I would say that is one area.
Quite challenging as well.
Yeah.
Yes. Ruby, and then Mr. Alexis.
So, sorry, Alexis, would you like to go first? No?
Okay, thank you. Well, I think if we really want to go on in Europe with this kind of projects, then we need a commitment of the central agencies, of the national agencies, because without that, it will be just some good initiatives here and there. So the challenge for me is whether the national authorities will include the upskilling policy of vulnerable groups in their agenda. So the real challenge is that will the European Union will give attention and will be focused also in the social issues, for example, the upskilling of the vulnerable ones, or we will stay only on the economic level in a kind of economic antagonism with Donald Trump. So this is a big challenge.
Indeed, this is a big challenge, and at least in the case of Cyprus, when we had the discussions with the development groups, stakeholders who participated commented that concerning the project, solely the project, they said that we need structural funds in a way that force states to promote, to make changes, because this, let's say, these projects may have a significant contribution, but they do not, they provide some recommendations, some suggestions. So in a way, they don't lead to some structural changes within states. Ruby, do you want to?
Yeah, sorry, just first of all, my camera, I was turning it off because my dog is very passionate this morning about the webinar. So apologies if you can hear some barking. But again, similar to like the others, really focusing on the regional area first. And with one of our challenges identified was the lack of financial support that adult learners have to engage with upskilling pathways. And AINTIS has been engaging with policymakers at a national level to really address the financial barriers to education, because there's currently quite a lot in Ireland. And recently the draft programme for government has been published, and it included a pledge to review financial supports for adult learners and promote access to education and lifelong learning. And this is a very clear positive impact of the advocacy work that we've been doing. But however, there is no commitment to reform financial supports outright, and we're going to continue to try influence government and follow through on this on future budgets. And with their development groups, there was also other areas that they wanted us to target. So particularly around the kind of policy area, and one of those was the access, transfer and progression policy. And this is currently being reviewed, and it is an opportunity for us to inform the policy and continue the development of upskilling pathways. And so other ones would be the framework for lifelong guidance, because that was another solution that people in the development group identified. They said the guidance of adult learners is really important so that they can offer support throughout it. And so more guidance to staff as a possible solution to really support learners. And I think that really is our plan, what our development group stakeholders said was that Ireland is quite policy rich, and we need to focus on trying to integrating upskilling pathways throughout the policies that we currently have in place.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I would also add on that at least for the Cyprus context, the stakeholders suggested that upskilling pathways have to be implemented through the current state educational system, or state, I would say, governmental structures, and not formulating specific committees for that, because there is also, let's say, something that it's being observed. If we want to do something, we create a committee that focuses on the specific field. And most stakeholders suggested that no, we don't need further committees. These changes have to be changed within the governmental structures, and see how they can better, we can better promote the 3 steps approach, which is the most important, let's say, part of the EU recommendation. Okay, great. So I would like to ask once more the audience if you have any comments or remarks. Otherwise,
and sorry,
yes,
just
yes,
to add, I've loved the Facebook videos of everyone's experiences, because it's just really nice to see like a snapshot or a 2-minute video. So I've really enjoyed looking at them, and then also I've enjoyed showing them to other people in my organization. And then we had it at our dissemination webinar as well. We shared a video, and people love to just see what's happening in different countries, and I thought that's really great. So if anyone hasn't seen them yet,
yes,
do take
yes,
a look.
we have also added an article on that on our website, but we'll upload in the website embedded this video testimonial, so so you can see it more clearly. But these are all thanks to our communications team, that they have done a wonderful work in that. So yes, it will be it's really nice to see the people behind the project, how this project became alive through the voices of the peoples and their perspectives. So I think that we are ready to wrap up. We are around a quarter behind the scheduled time, so you have more time for lunch, at least in Cyprus. So I would just like to highlight a few takeaways from this discussion, that there is an increasing need for upskilling and reskilling due to the evolving workforce demands. Projects like PartnerUP, as well as other projects that focus specifically on upskilling and reskilling, are very important in addressing various challenges that you have mentioned, and strengthening the collaboration between the different countries, that focus specifically on this policy level that we were working on. And it is very important to ensure how we can support sustainability in the long run for upskilling initiatives. I would like to thank all our panelists and our keynote speaker for the insightful discussion and their contributions, and our audience for their engagement. Thank you for being there. And we hope that this discussion has provided you some useful knowledge that you can move forward and see what you can further do to promote upskilling and reskilling. So thank you. I don't know if you want to add any contributions from the panel, any concluding remarks.
Thank you very much for the open and fruitful dialogue.
Yes,
Great.
I would like to thank you for the project and for this conference. And coming back to the policy issue, there was and is a definite interest from our policymakers, from Ministry of Education and Science. They were very interested in what are the outcomes of the project. So that may be a way how also maybe in a very minor, but still a way this will have impact on both on national, but through our Ministry of Education and Science also on the European debate on these issues. Thank you.
Thank you. Tina, do you want to add a comment?
Just thanking everybody for presenting this, and I really hope that we find a way to collaborate further and to also make sure that these results do not die out.